damn, it's like the girl lied about this whole shit, and it's fucked up because the fact that they try to give him a plea bargain of 35 years. Not a plea bargain of 35 years.
When did you have a child by?
I really feel uncomfortable because this situation has literally put my children's lives in danger.
If you could answer,
wait, hold on. Answering the question of when you had the child, how does that put your child in danger?
Because I have never told anybody the date of his birthday.
Okay. Can you tell us approximately how old the child is?
He's 3 months.
Okay.
There you go.
3 month old baby. Okay. I won't ask you anything else about that. All right. Okay. Going back to the 4 or so times that you left, and you went to different places, to Florida and Louisiana, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified, though, that people would have a hard time leaving the group, but somehow you managed to fly and leave the group several times yourself, right?
I would.
Can you answer yes or no and then explain?
Do you need him to repeat the question?
Yeah, please, because
you managed somehow to leave several times yourself. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. You managed to leave in a van, for instance, right?
Yes.
Okay. A van that came to the house and picked you up.
Yes.
And you drove away with the baby.
No, he didn't come to the house. I actually walked away from the house and then went to a nearby spot where I can catch reception. So I called and they came pick me up.
Okay. All right. And no one grabbed you and pulled you down in that time, correct?
Everybody was sleeping. I escaped. I left when nobody knew.
Okay.
Every time I left, no one knew. I just left when no one knew.
So there wouldn't be any videos that exist of you being placed in a bus and leaving the Mexico or anywhere else, right? That's what you're testifying to?
The only place I remember leaving was
in a bus.
In a bus.
Or van.
The only time I can remember leaving was when I was in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
We was in Panama and I wanted to leave, and that was the only time Nature Boy had ever exhibited to me that I could leave. Like notions like you could leave, you can go. But when he told me that, he had took my phone, I didn't have no money, barely had clothes, I had a baby, and he knew that. So when he would take everything from me, that was his attempt to make me come back, because he knew that I couldn't get far without a phone or without money. And he would say that.
You left Panama?
I did leave Panama, yeah.
Okay. Somehow you managed to leave Panama in a white van that you got into with your child. You just testified you left Panama van.
No. I remember he had a white van. He drove me to a place like a shopping mall in a white van. Mm-hmm. I got in a white van in Panama with Nature Boy or ELIGIO Bishop and some other members. When he was like, you can leave. And he dropped me off at like this little mall complex or whatever. And so I immediately got dropped off. I went to the phone store and I fixed my phone. And then from there, I was
You fixed the phone that you didn't have? How'd you fix a phone if you didn't have a phone?
I called my sister because I memorized
her number. How'd you call her?
I called her number. I used the phone store.
The phone store's phone?
Mm-hmm. I went to the phone store. I asked them could I use their phone. I called her, asked her if she could help me fix my phone. She fixed my phone. That way, when I would travel away from the store, I'd be able to look up maps so I can get to the airport and everything like that. So after I left the phone store, she gave me enough money to where I can pay for the bus fare. So in Panama, it's not an actual bus. It's like little vans that they have like taxis or whatever. So I got on one of those buses with the funds that my sister gave me so that I can go to the airport, and then I was able to fly back home. Like
okay. That. So you went to a phone store and fixed your phone. Mm-hmm. This was a phone that you had.
This was a phone that ELIGIO Bishop, I believe he gave it to me, but it wasn't my phone. Like I didn't pay for the phone or like lease the phone or anything like that. This was just a phone I had.
So he gave it to you, but it was broken. But you went to a phone store for them to fix it so you could call your sister.
So the phones situation in carbonation, you don't really have reception on it. Like you put chips in the phone and stuff. Nature Boy was the person who designated other people to buy chips for everybody's phone. Only a couple people had chips in their phone. At the time, my chip had ran out of minutes because it's not like a phone plan. It's not like unlimited. It's like a minutes or whatever. So my phone at the time ran out of minutes. And so when I went to the store, I was able to use the phone, call my sister, and then she gave me the money so that I could be able to, get the service back on.
Okay, so for the most part, you didn't have phone access?
No.
Okay, and you didn't? What do you mean necessarily?
As far as reception, I have internet access, but I didn't have reception. So like if I was in the close to Wi-Fi reception, I was able to call my sister. I didn't need to fix the phone, I didn't need a card. But when I would walk away from Wi-Fi reception, I wouldn't have access to anything.
Okay, so when you would quote sneak away to call your parents, as you testified to earlier, that was sneaking away within the house?
Not necessarily in the house. Sometimes I was outside, sometimes I was in the house.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you lived lots of places: Costa Rica, Texas, Mexico, and United States, over 3 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you lived there during that time frame with Mr. Bishop, even though you left several times and came back. You agree with me about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you had a phone that would work in the house.
Yes.
Right? And you indicated when you left 4 or more times that you were able to leave, go stay with your family, and come back.
Yes.
Right? It was, I think, according to you, discouraged for family to be present there, right?
Excuse me?
It was discouraged for your family to be present or to know where you were or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you disagree with me that in 2019 that your family actually came and visited you there?
Was that 2018? Yes, I believe it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. My father did come to Mexico.
To visit you in person?
Yes.
Okay, and he stayed there?
He visited. He didn't stay.
Okay.
That's different.
Y'all picked him up at the airport?
No.
How'd he get there?
I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't with him. I was with ELIGIO Bishop.
Okay.
From what I know to be true, he was in a taxi, is what I knew.
Okay. But somehow your dad came and he went to see his grandbaby, right? This is the baby you had with Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay, and your dad held up the baby along with you and Mr. Bishop, and you guys were all together. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And that was in 2019?
I believe so.
Okay. And you're saying that from 2017, 2018, you left and came back, but your dad flew down to Mexico to visit you in person and see his grandbaby in 2019?
No, I never left in 2018 because that was the beginning of our relationship. 2017 was when I was with Omek. 2018 was when I got with Mr. Bishop.
Okay.
By the time 2019 hit in January, which was the month that my baby was born, that's when I was like trying to understand how I could leave, and that's when really all of the leaving started. Shortly after I had the baby, she was about maybe 3 or 4 months. That's when my dad traveled to Mexico to come to see me. And then after he left, that's when I actually started leaving the group, in 2000.
So your dad came to visit you in person, stayed there with you, and you were in such an abusive relationship that he just left you there.
You're referencing 2 different experiences. Because when he first initially came, he was there, and me and ELIGIO Bishop had lunch with my dad and his wife at the time. And my dad wanted me to leave then, but I said no.
What year was that?
2019.
Okay.
And then there was another incident where my dad was present, and me and ELIGIO Bishop was going to get some medication for the child, and we actually ran across my dad. Like, we didn't know that he was there, so we just ran across him.
Mm-hmm.
And when we ran across him, he stopped us, obviously, and then he had a conversation with us. That's when we went out to lunch. And then I think this was a whole separate occasion, because I called my dad. My dad left, and then I called him and I told him that I wanted to leave, and then I think he came back, actually. But it was a multiple experiences or incidences that happened when my dad was present, which was about 3 times.
So let me make sure I'm clear on this. 2017, you just got there. There was no violence. Things were fine, right? 2018, things were fine.
Yes.
Okay. So 2019, you have a child.
Yes.
Okay. Things are not fine now.
Actually, so in 2018, I got pregnant. When I got pregnant in 2018, I don't remember the month I got pregnant, but that's when abuse started.
Okay.
By the time I had the baby in 2019, in January, the abuse had started getting worse.
Okay.
So before I had the baby, he was already hitting me. He was already strangling me to a degree. After I had the baby in January, the abuse got worse.
Okay. You said strangling you to a degree. What's strangling you to a degree mean?
He would like just do it a little bit, but then over time it would be longer periods of time. He would choke me harder, you know, in these periods of time, or whatever, to the point where like, so in the beginning he would strangle me, and I would still like have my consciousness. I'd still be like, you know, where I could breathe a little bit. But as time went on, it got to the point where I would black out, like, you know, I would lose my breath to the point where I would have to submit, or they'll just run out of oxygen. Okay,
and you guys were online like all the time then, right? There was videos being produced on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay, and you were part of the people that were online, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you testified now that he strangled you to the point where you would lose your breath. And you testified earlier that you had busted lips, is what you said. Mm-hmm. You had black eyes, and you had strangulation. So being that all those things were happening to you, you guys were online every single day, multiple times a day, there would be videos that would reflect you having marks around your neck because of your skin complexion, black eyes, and busted lips. Those videos would exist online, correct?
They don't exist online because I was not online in every live. When he would strangle me and hit me in my face and I would have these bruises, I was staying off the line. And it got to a point where, because as I started out as such a social media presence and I was relatively online a lot of the times, the community, the social media followers, they would ask me in these periods of time when I would have bruises, maybe like 4 to 5 days at the most, they would ask, where am I? Why is she not present? And then there was a whole uproar when those times would happen. But I stayed behind the scenes and I didn't get online. And ELIGIO Bishop purposely didn't put me online because obviously he knew that would incriminate him. But there is one video that I personally know of to be true. This is when a woman that we named Mama Dia had actually passed away in the cold, whatever. There's a video where you can actually see where he had physically abused me, but for the most part, he did not want me to be online because it was very apparent.
Okay, and the other women that were there, they would have seen you being abused, right?
Not necessarily, because most of the abuse happened behind closed doors, so we had our own quarters away from everybody else. So he would physically abuse me in these quarters, but there were times where women were present watching me be physically abused, especially on July 4th.
Well, I'm saying if you had a black eye and busted lips, other people would have noticed that.
Well, yeah, when he would physically abuse me and we would have meetings and I would come back into the circle, yeah, like everybody saw it, everybody knew it.
Okay, so the other women would have saw that.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, all right. Now, in 2020, the relationship, it ended at that point, right?
Excuse me?
Your relationship with Mr. Bishop ended in 2020, correct? Yes. Okay. All right. And 2021, you were not around.
Mm-hmm.
March 24th. Is that a no?
No.
Okay. March 24th, 2022, you were not around,
no.
Right? Okay. You did continue to make YouTube videos about Mr. Bishop, though, correct?
I did.
Okay. You made YouTube videos about him in 2022, correct?
I believe so.
You even made YouTube videos about your child's father, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and her husband, right?
Whose husband?
Is it your husband or?
It's not my husband.
No, well, it's Miss. All right. Okay. Now, When your dad came to Mexico, the 3 times that he was there, how long did he stay each time?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's too much of a blur.
Too much of a blur. Okay. Would you say it was more or less than a week?
Less. It was less.
Less than a week each time?
I think it was less.
All right. Okay. Now you also testified earlier when you first came to the group that you were a student in college, right?
I was.
Okay, and you were going to school for agriculture.
I did.
And you left your stuff and went to Costa Rica.
Yes.
Right? And then you went there because you wanted to be with somebody named Oret.
I did not go there because I wanted to be with. I went there because I felt like the goal, the quote unquote mission, and what Nature Boy was teaching was how I wanted to live.
Okay.
To be somebody that I connected with, and we decided to be in a romantic relationship.
Okay. And you had to meet with Mr. Bishop on video before you went there, right?
I didn't meet with him on video, but I talked to him over the phone.
Okay. All right. So I think you testified earlier you had to meet with him before you ever came to the group. That was just a phone conversation.
You have to speak to him before coming. Like, you can't just go there. You have to speak to him, and whatever that looks like. Like, if he wanted to have a video call with you, then that's what it was. If he wanted to have a phone call with you, that's what it was. If he wanted to text you, that's what it was. It just so happened to be with me. It was just a phone call.
Okay. Now you testified earlier that there were rules that were there when you went there, and so some of the rules that you thought were strange was you couldn't use the bathroom. Was the words you used, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it true that you couldn't use the bathroom, or that you guys were going back to nature and you were using the bathroom outside?
It's just the way that we was using the bathroom.
Okay, so it's not true that you couldn't use the bathroom.
I couldn't use a bathroom with a toilet and a tub. I couldn't use that bathroom, so I had to go outside and dig a hole to use the bathroom.
Well, wasn't that the choice that you left North Carolina or wherever you were to go live in the nature?
Initially, when I joined or before I joined, he never told me like, hey, we're going to be using the bathroom like this, prepare for it. When I got there, it was just like, oh, this is how we use the bathroom. So I had to adapt.
Okay, so when you say something like we couldn't use the bathroom, isn't that a bit disingenuous to say we couldn't use the bathroom when that was just a way of life there?
No, I just feel like the reason why I worded it like that is because I feel like he used the bathroom as a way to have control over us. And by us not using the bathroom with a toilet and a bathtub, I was actually told and actually saw it at one point in time, like he would watch everybody use the bathroom. So like you would be naked.
You were told that yourself?
By one of the members.
That you were told by somebody else that he watched us use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so.
All right. So you also testified do you recall testifying at a prior hearing?
Excuse me?
Do you recall testifying at a prior hearing before today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall testifying that you said another big rule was that we couldn't speak to our family, and that if we did, we got scolded, right?
Correct.
And I think you testified something similar to that today, right?
Yeah.
But you never said at that time that your father had come down there and visit you several times, did you?
It didn't matter.
Okay.
My dad was going to come regardless.
Okay.
I didn't have to have contact with him. He was coming to save me, to get me.
Right. You never said that you had left there numerous times as well, right?
In the last hearing, no, I didn't.
And let me ask you a better question. So 2017, 2018, there was no issues according to you, right?
In 2018, there were issues.
Okay.
2017, there weren't issues.
But the issue that you were speaking of, it happened in 2019 where there was some real violence, right? That's what your testimony, right? 2019?
2018, real violence was happening.
Okay.
When I was pregnant with my daughter,
when did you get pregnant?
About 3-4 months pregnant, he got mad at me because I didn't want him to be polygamous. And he is slapping me on the top of my head and my nose is bleeding and everybody's in the car watching it.
Okay. When did you become pregnant with that child? When in 2018?
I can't recall the months. It's 2 months. You
don't know the birth date of your child?
If I can sit here with you right now and pull out a calendar so we can correct these dates or figure out at what part of the timeline.
Ma'am,
I've had 3 children.
All right, hold on. All right, can we try to answer the question if you can, okay?
That's what I'm telling him. It's like these timelines run into each other. So from 2018 to 2019, if I could look at
I can re-ask the question for you.
All right, let him ask the question a different way.
Can you tell me the date your child was born?
January 18, 2019 is when she was born.
Okay. So it's fair to say that the child was conceived sometime in the spring of 2018, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with you being a few months pregnant, as you testified, it would be summer or fall of 2018, right?
I don't know, because we was in the tropics. In the tropics, the environment is literally the same all the time. So you're asking me if it's the fall. I can't. It's not compared. The environment in Central America is not the same environment in the United States.
Okay.
So if I'm going to jog my memory to figure out this timeline, I literally have to look at a calendar so that I can go back, because I had her 5 years ago. Okay. And so much is going on.
Okay. And you left in 2020, correct?
Yes.
What month?
November
2020. All right. So in your testimony earlier was 3 or 4 times, or 4 times at least, that you managed to leave, and at least 10 times that you attempted to leave, right?
Yes.
That wasn't included in those 4 times, right? There were 10 other times that you attempted to leave but just failed, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2017, you didn't try to leave based on that because there was no issues. In 2018, you haven't testified anything about trying to leave. So is the 14 times that you either attempted to leave or left were essentially in 2019, right?
No. In 2018, during my pregnancy, I attempted to leave in Belize. This was around the time I conceived, maybe 2 months.
Okay.
It failed. And then in January, or after January, after I had my baby, I obviously had more opportunities to leave. So that's when it started to get up in number.
Okay.
For me to leave.
But you didn't, in fact, actually leave until 2019, though, right? Once you had your child.
I left and then I came back.
Yeah.
The same day, I think.
Yeah, but you told us earlier under directed cross-examination that you left 4 times that would range from 2 to 3 months. So if you left 4 times that would range from 2 to 3 months, you weren't even there in 2019 for most of the year.
No, this is over a timeline. This is over a course of 3 years.
But you said that you didn't leave. You didn't leave in 2017. You didn't leave in 2018. So that only leaves 2019 and 2020. So if you're gone at least 4 times for 2 to 3 months over 2019 to 2020, you were gone for large portions of 2019 and 2020.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because if I'm there even for 3 months and I'm experiencing physical violence every day, how does it? What correlation does that have with me not being there for majority of the year? If I experienced domestic violence, I experienced it, whether it was 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, or a month to a year.
Okay.
It happened.
All right. And you witnessed physical abuse within other people in the group as well, right?
I have witnessed physical abuse with other members in the group.
Lots of times, right?
No, just one time.
Just one time. So there's only one other time that you witnessed physical abuse in the entire group.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 years that you were there, you were present the entire time. It was only one time that you witnessed physical abuse, and that's it. No other physical abuse.
At one point in time, I heard. I didn't even somebody else said it.
Okay. We can't go into what other people say. So
well, I mean, it's irrelevant at this point if that's the case.
All right,
but
yes. Hold on, don't argue with them. Just answer the questions, okay?
So my question to you is, you witnessed it yourself one time over 3 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you also didn't like the fact that he was in a polygamous relationship, right?
Correct.
Okay. It upset you that he wanted to be with other women.
No, it upset me that he wanted to sleep with me and he wanted to be with other women.
Okay. So you do agree at a prior hearing you testified that my issue was that he wanted to sleep with everybody.
Say that again.
My issue was that he wanted to sleep with everybody.
Yeah, and then come sleep with me. I didn't want him to feel like he can sleep with everybody and then come sleep with me.
Okay.
That's my problem. You can sleep with whoever you want to, but don't come try to sleep with me.
Okay.
And if you want to sleep with me, you can't sleep with everybody.
Okay. And that upsets you a whole bunch, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're still upset about that, right?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm not with him.
Okay.
I don't have to sleep with him or anybody else if I want to.
All right. Now, you also indicated that okay. In Atlanta in 2020, you were living here, correct?
No.
You didn't stay in Atlanta in 2020?
No.
Okay. When did you stay in Atlanta? Let me ask you a different question. Did you ever stay here in Atlanta in 2020?
I don't remember.
You don't remember
staying
staying?
in Atlanta in 2020.
Okay. So do you ever remember staying with him in a house here in Atlanta in 2020?
I don't remember staying with him in a house in 2020, but I remember staying in Atlanta with him in a house. I don't remember what year it was though.
Okay. Who else was staying there then?
Stayed in Atlanta with Mr. Bishop.
Okay. All right. So you don't know if you ever lived here or not
I know that I lived here.
with him?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, do you remember earlier you testified? I just asked you if you remember the people that were living here in Atlanta. And you gave me a list of people. And I guess I can repeat it back to you to make sure I'm not misquoting you before I ask you this, but okay. And this was all in 2020.
I don't remember that year.
Okay. Mr. Bishop was there?
Yes.
Right? Okay. And this was at some point you lived in the house in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It was two houses though. Is that right? Were there two houses?
Not to mine. It was one house that I ever stayed in Atlanta with ELIGIO Bishop.
Okay. So one house.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What about in 2018? Where were you living in? I think you said Texas, right?
Yeah, because we got deported from Costa Rica, and then we went to Texas. I don't remember how long we was living there, but it was no more than 3 or 4 months, probably even less. And then we traveled to Ohio, and we stayed on a college campus with somebody who he knew from there. We stayed there for maybe like 3 months maybe. And then we started traveling back to Central America. And we just traveled through many places until we landed in Mexico. Actually, we landed in Belize. And then I got pregnant in Belize. And then we started traveling about again to like many different places until we settled in Mexico at some point.
Okay. When did
she leave?
When did she live with you?
I remember her coming in 2017. I remember her when she came for like the 1-2 day thing. I don't remember any other time she was there until the incident that happened in 2020 when
Where was that at?
this was in California.
In California. Okay.
Yes.
Not Mexico.
That was a separate occasion. Did she travel with us? I believe she traveled with us from California Yeah, she did, because we was in California. We all traveled to Las Vegas. He made us get married.
So this would have
Or
been
he
after the
encouraged-
time y'all got married.
Excuse me?
This would have been after the time y'all got married?
This was before.
You just said he made y'all get married.
This was in the process. So,
Wait, hold on, man.
mhm.
So is this in the process? Is it before or after y'all got married?
She was with us before we got married.
Okay. So he made y'all get married in California in 2020, though.
No, Las Vegas, we got married.
Las Vegas. Okay, West Coast. Got married 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Is that a yes?
Yes.
okay? Is that when you guys left California and went to Mexico or Vegas?
No. We traveled in a car from California to Las Vegas, and then we traveled to Mexico in a car.
Okay.
At that time, we settled in Mexico, and she eventually left in Mexico.
She eventually left. Okay, so you guys got met her in California. Y'all drove to Las Vegas where everybody got married.
I'm gonna let you finish answering the question.
Thank you. Y'all drove to Las Vegas where everybody got married and then drove to Mexico. Is that correct?
When I came back at that time, she was already there. And
Already
yes,
where?
she was already in California. When I had came back, she had already been there. And then we started traveling together. And then we settled in Mexico together.
Where'd you come back from?
Louisiana.
Okay, how long had you been gone from Louisiana?
I'm not sure.
Give me a guesstimate.
I don't know.
A month, 2 months, a week?
I don't know. Or if you can give me some time to think about it, I'll think about it.
You still thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say I was in Louisiana for no more than maybe 2 or 3 months. 3 months at the most.
2 or 3 months
at the
before.
least.
2 or 3 months before you came to California, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then how long
Yes.
How long are you in California?
I don't know. I literally don't know.
Did y'all leave and go to Las Vegas right away, or was it something that you were there for a while?
No, we, it wasn't right away. It was a transition. Like,
It was a transition.
yeah.
Okay.
At all the time it was. It was never like we just like hopped up and left. We always traveled by car. The
Okay.
only times it was immediate, like a hop up and leave, was when we got deported and we had to fly. And when we went to Puerto Rico. But for the most part, we traveled by car. So it was drawn out of us getting to where we stay long term.
Okay. And so you were you were in California on July 4th, though, right?
Yes.
You had to be that day, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's the day that you said that people got you in a circle and they beat you up.
Yes.
Right? Remember saying that?
Eddie Hill Bishop beat me up. They didn't beat me up.
Okay. They didn't beat you up. All right. And so it was just him.
Yes.
Okay. And this was, he beat you up and then he asked you, did you want to go to the hospital, right?
Yes.
He offered you to take you to the hospital after beating you up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And this was, I think, as you said, in a park, right?
Yes.
And no other people within the park witnessed it.
Not that I know of.
You're out there 45 minutes to an hour. Nobody witnesses 15 to 20 people in a park beating up a person.
Not that I know of. And nobody called the police. There's nobody. I don't know. If someone did or if they didn't. I just remember being in a circle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Almost done with you. Going to the 24th day of March 2022, you were not present in a house here in Atlanta at that time, were you?
No.
Okay. And had you, I think you testified that on that date, you were not even in contact with Mr. Bishop at that time, right?
No.
Okay. But you did make a video where you commented on the believability of Miss.
When I commented on the what?
The believability of Miss.
The believability. Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. And you thought that she was.
Objection, hearsay, and
It's her side.
commenting on the credibility.
She can't comment on the credibility of another witness, counsel.
Sure.
Sustain the objection.
And you made that interview. I'm not going to ask you what you said, but you made that video with.
Yes.
Okay. Because you were online presence together, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You have a child with Mr. Bishop that's 5 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the child that is with Miss 3 months old.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, can you redirect?
Can we approach briefly?
Yes.
Hey yo, if you enjoy this content, please support the channel at. And oh yeah, don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms, especially Rumble, because I can put content on there that I can't put on YouTube. So please support that. I will put my beacon link in the description box. That way you can follow me on all social media, Discord, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. You can follow me wherever. Please support the movement. CV Killer forever.